Yo, what's going on YouTube? It's your boy the D, and I think you may have noticed that we finally got channel art. As I said earlier on Showdown, the first episode, if you watched it, One Piece is my favorite anime, and the new channel symbol for presumably forever, or that may change, I'm not entirely sure yet, but that is my Jolly Roger. And that's gonna rock out with us now. All I need to do is get a banner and we're gonna rock out. And thank you to @MalyMal25 on Twitter for doing my channel art. He is such a good friend. He's a dope streamer. He's a dope content creator. He's a dope artist. That's my dude, yo. Like, no lie. I've had this symbol in my mind for years and I was finally able to bring it to life thanks to MalyMal's talent. So MalyMal, definitely thank you, bruh. Appreciate you. And if you are an aspiring YouTuber or you just need some art done, you know, if you're a Twitch streamer, he does emotes, he does a lot of art, just hit my boy up. His links, the links to his socials and his stream in and of itself are going to be in the description, so definitely hit him up. But, you know, praising a young, well, I think he's older than me, but still, a young black creator doing his thing aside, let's get down to the meat and potatoes. Yet again, this is Shonen Showdown, where we review the weekly Shonen Jump chapters. Yes, this episode is late. Do I give a fuck? No! But anyway, today we're going to be talking about One Piece and My Hero Academia. Black Clover's on 1 week break, so that's not going to come out till, I believe, Friday. I'm not gonna date this, but the next chapter I think come out Friday. I'm not gonna date this. You're not gonna know how late I am. I'm just not gonna fucking tell you. But anyway, without further ado, thank you for joining me. And if you do like what you hear in this video, definitely like, comment, subscribe. My Linktree is gonna be in the description below. So if you want to follow my Twitch, you want to follow me on Twitter, you want to follow my Let's Play channel, where I sometimes should more consistently dump my my Twitch streams, that's gonna be on my Linktree. But without further ado, we're gonna go ahead and get this started. Shonen Showdown. All right, everybody, let's get started this week with One Piece, chapter 995, A Kunoichi's Oath. And before we get into the chapter, just wanted to say, we're on chapter 995. We could potentially hit chapter 1000 this year. Now, I know a couple of, well, not even a couple of weeks ago, probably like a month and a half, 2 months ago, I remember Oda had to take, he'd gotten sick all of a sudden. He had to take 2 weeks off. So that kind of put us behind. But even with this, I'm kind of doing the math. 996 comes out in a couple of days. And then we got next week's chapter, if there's a chapter. And then 3 weeks, well, we got next week's chapter. And then if he did 4 chapters in December, he could potentially hit that goal. We'll have 1000 this year. Well, no, it's next week, and then 3 weeks in December, we'll have 1000 next year. But yeah, yet again, it's not a failing on Oda's part if he doesn't get to 1000 this year, but I know he wants to. So believe me, if Oda meets his goal and gets to 1000 this year, hey, I'm happy for him. But if not, hey, he got sick, shit happens. But hey, it's a possibility. We could be getting 1000, chapter 1000 of One Piece in 2020. That'd be one of the few good things to come out this fucking year. But anyway, let's go ahead and get started with A Kunoichi's Oath. Onigashima is rocked as we see it from a distance, and there's an explosion and someone yelling, "Stay out of this." And then in the next panel, we see Big Mom clashing with Marco in his hybrid phoenix form, to which we know it was Big Mom who's telling Marco to stay out of it. Marco then replies as he's clashing with her, "I may not know what my role here is yet, but I know better than any of them the kind of danger you posed." Which makes sense because Marco, being pretty much the first son of Whitebeard, knowing he knows about Big Mom. Now, I don't know if that alludes to like a deeper knowing, like maybe he's fought with them before, which would make sense. Yet again, Kaido, Big Mom, and Whitebeard will come up at the same time, so Marco likely knows like the most about their crews, especially since he's been on the crew for majority of his life. And then we have Big Mom try to summon Prometheus to try to like augment her attacks, but she then asks why she's losing. And then Marco, with a smile on his face, tells her Phoenix Flames have special properties. But then Big Mom says that's enough from him and grabs him by the neck. She then yells for Pearl Sparrow to get him, which Pearl Sparrow's perched on top of a nearby cliff. And he says right away, as he's aiming a bow likely made out of candy with an arrow aimed for Marco. But just as he's about to fire, he is attacked by Wanda and Carrot in their Sulong forms. They use attacks: Moon Raid, Ironic. I don't know. Ironic. I don't know. But yeah, I think Wanda's attack was like a different language. Haven't looked it up. But yeah, so they slash Pearl Sparrow over his eyes. But yeah, slash him over his eyes, knocking him back because their attacks were also fueled with electro. Okay, and let me back up because the way I was holding my tablet, yes, I read on my tablet as I'm explaining it to y'all. Pearl Sparrow hints that there were times in the past when he wanted to kill Marco more than this. Ironic. It wasn't one of Wanda's attacks. It was actually him being interrupted when he was saying ironic. So he knows Marco. He's the first son of Big Mom. I think he is her oldest child. I think Compote, the first daughter, is younger than him. So yeah, he knows Marco. There's even a chance that, because by the time the Rocks Pirates were disbanded, Pearl Sparrow was already born. I believe him, Katakuri, and quite a few of her, and not quite a few, not the majority, but a few of her children were actually born on Rox's crew. And it's even possible that Marco was young on Marco's crew, not on Marco's crew, but on Rox's crew. And then yet again, jumping back, Pearl Sparrow's been slashed. Big Mom notices their Sulongs, and even Marco's kind of surprised as Pearl Sparrow falls back in pain. We then see Wanda and Carrot in their Sulong forms. Wanda, yet again, looking nice, looking like some full-body Super Saiyan 3s. And they then recognize that, and Wanda asks, is he the one who killed Pearl Sparrow? To which Carrot asks yes, if it weren't for him. But then she's interrupted by Pearl Sparrow, who plainly tells her that he blew himself up, and that they're taking out on the wrong man. And we then see a flashback of Pedro, I can speak, telling them to keep moving forward. But then she says that they know that Pedro's sacrifice brought them to this battle right here. It allowed them to move forward. So Marco then asks, who are they? To which they recognize him as a friend of Nekomamushi's. To which I think Marco's starting to get like, oh, Sulong, Nekomamushi, right? Because remember, Inuarashi and Nekomamushi did travel on Whitebeard's crew for a short while, so they do know who Marco is. So the Big Mom then says she doesn't have time for this, and she doesn't have time for little squabbles, personal squabbles, and that they shouldn't bring them on the battlefield, and they should hash them out themselves. She then tells Marco that if he wants to kill her, he'll have to wait till another time. She doesn't have soul weapons to spare on him right now. Wanda then tells him to go and that they'll deal with Pearl Sparrow. And then Marco then hears somebody yell for help and say that they're turning into an Oni in the distance, to which he wonders what's going on. Alright, we then cut back to the banquet hall, the performance floor in the banquet hall inside the dome, and everybody's trying to catch Apu. Even Zoro, who unleashes a 720-pound phoenix to attack him, but still misses him. Apu is running for his fucking life, and he is not gonna get caught, at least as far as he's concerned. We then see some of the beasts and samurais telling him, hey, we're on your side, give us the antibodies. But he refuses, saying that if he does, he'll die, because Zoro and Drake are gonna catch him. He then says that he feels hostility from the entire floor and thanks Queen sarcastically in his head, which yet again he should have hockey, which I believe he displays later in the chapter. Like, yeah, he has armament. He should have some degree of observation. So yeah, he probably knows that everyone on this fucking floor hates me. We then see a couple of beasts and other people transforming, saying that they don't want to die, and talking about how they're so cold. And as they're running after Apu, he then uses his, yet again, still unnamed devil fruit. He says boom, which then causes an explosion. And he then continues to rock out. He's like, okay, he then turns to run, but both Zoro and Diaz Drake rush him. And he's talking about, you can't team up on me, but he does intercept the attacks using his tonfas, which are most likely enhanced with armor haki, which we then see they're black, unless they were black color to begin with. And Zoro then tells him, as he's clashing with him, that he just wants to go up and help Kinemon, and that Apu is just a delay. And we then see Diaz Drake start to transform into his Allosaurus form, and he even says he's always hated Apu, to which Apu rebuts, the feeling has always been mutual. Queen's then looking over bounty posters, looking at all the chaos from a perch, stating that the moment that he showed his true colors the moment they exposed him. And he's noticing that he notices Zoro, from his bounty posters. And he then says it's always best to take out the number 2s and 3s quickly. And then he notices that they've got Judge's son, Sanji, amongst their group. And he says Vinsmoke Judge, kind of like he's reminiscing. So he may know Judge. Hell, he's probably worked with him. He may be a rogue scientist who worked with Judge and Vegapunk. So that's always an option. We then cut back to see yet again Chopper and them on the battlefield. With people turning the Onis around. It's chaos. Brook then says that he thought he was going to turn into an Oni, but he says, look at him, he's just fine. And Chopper's like, yeah, that's good. It's because you don't have any skin or blood or warmth. You're basically a corpse to begin with. We then hear a boom in the background being Apu. Alright, and so Brook then says that it's shocking, but it means he's invincible, which he essentially is in regards to viruses. He has no blood, no organs to infect, nothing, no life to steal, so therefore, he is invincible. Chopper, he's analyzing the virus on the battlefield. He then says that he notices that the virus spreads through cold, so as the body's chilled, that's how the virus spread. But he's asking, is it possible from the inside? And he's just wondering, he's pontificating about the virus until someone near him says, Chopper, your arm. Chopper then looks down in horror as we see that the frost is infecting him. So the one person who can stop this is in danger. We then cut over to another part of the hall where we hear special attack, Green Star. And we see Ulti, and one of Usopp's Venus flytraps is attacking her. And then we see a beat up Usopp missing a tooth cheer on his plant, telling it to melt her down. But then we see Page 1 use his Spinosaurus powers. Yeah, my favorite dinosaur. He chomps on the vine's stem, which then kills it. And then he tells Ulti, you can escape on your own. And then Usopp screams, calling her a devil and telling her to take this, which he uses the bamboo javelin, and it hits Page 1 and Ulti from below, but it doesn't do anything because yet again, as we've been told, dinosaur zoans are very durable. Ulti then rushes, even after being quote unquote stabbed, it didn't do anything. Then it rushes him, and then Usopp eyes popping out of his head is like, what? And then she says, Ulti, preparing her attack, to which Usopp says, not again. and he's cut off. Mortar. This woman headbutted the almighty fuck out that man, and I'm here for it. That shit's amazing. We then see like an x-ray, like kind of like how Mortal Kombat, they do the x-rays with their like fatalities and shit. We then see an x-ray of his skull being fractured, and he's set flying, and we then pan over that I beat up Nami, and damn, like I don't think we've ever seen Nami this beat up before. I don't think, at least not in my recent memory, because normally her and Robin, like they kind of fucked up, but they kind of escaped a little bit more scot-free. But as she's doing this, Page One steps to her. We can see either his or Ulti's foot step near her, and we see we then pan out to see some beasts running, and someone say, "Hey, woman," to which Nami says she surrendered and she begs not to be killed. Ulti says, "That's obvious. Now speak. I'm on a short fuse. You know why? Because your captain said to Master Kaido that he would be king of the pirates." To which Nami says that she's sorry her captain's an idiot, and she begs not to be headbutted again, because them headbutts, boy, them shits are something sick. She then begs her, telling her she leave the island, and if you hit me one more time, that if she's hit one more time, she'll die. Ulti then says, "Okay, then say it. Say my captain will never be king of the pirates." To which Nami huffs and it says, "Okay, I'll say it." And then she says, as we look on Luffy and Usopp, she says, "Luffy will never." And Usopp watches on, broken and beaten. "That's it, Nami. Lie to her. The wrong word will be the end of your life after you made it all this way." Nami then continued with tears in her eyes. "Stop until he's king of the pirates." So Ulti then after she's been angered by that statement, "So you want to do it that way, then die." Usopp then gets up and yells, "Nami, you idiot," and tells her to get out of there. And she says, "But it's true." And then we hear somebody say, "Hey, Nami, get her, Komachio." And we then see the dog that was with Otama riding it. And then they both ask, "What is Otama doing here?" To which Page One in the final panel looks over, a dog. And ladies and gentlemen, that's gonna be One Piece 995. Yet again, didn't do a lot in terms of, moving the story forward, speculation, although there were some speculative elements. Marco has knowledge of Big Mom, which yet again could potentially just be could just be his age. Marco's like 45. He's been on Whitebeard's crew for most of that time, so he knows about Big Mom. But it seems like he might have some deeper relationship with Perospero, which might explain why they were able to team up initially when they came here. B. Chopper. He's got the virus. So now it's a race against time, because if anything happens to Chopper, they're fucked, because there's nobody else who can be able to cure this shit. So it'll be interesting to see what comes out of this. C. Hold on, what was C? Queen. He knows Vinsmoke Judge. Now, it seems like it could potentially be more than just knowing of him, because knowing of him, he's the leader of the Germa, who at least before this were essentially royals, and he was the leader of the Germa 66. Not that surprising. So yeah, very interesting. And I know a lot of people saying like, "Man, fodder Page One. Yeah, my boy ain't fodder. Like he like him and Ulti collectively have been pretty much fucking Usopp and Nami up, and everybody was like, "Oh man, this power scales." Nah, that nigga stomps. He is a Toby Ropo. You better put some respect on that name. Nigga's a fucking Spinosaurus. You better put some respect on that name. All I'm saying. Like, Page One is not fodder, so I don't know where that came from, but stuff that shit. Like, hitting Zoro Sanji, like, okay, he might have been in trouble, but Usopp and Nami, they gonna have to work their way out of this shit. Like, you ain't gonna just say like, "Oh, Usopp stomps Page One low diff," Bullshit. But also, Marco was clashing with Big Mom. That's something that cannot be understated. Remember, when Queen tried to go against her in the Udon prison, he got slapped, like, easily. But Marco was able to clash with her while she was using Prometheus. Like when Queen lost, she didn't even have Prometheus, Napoleon, or Zeus. But Marco, with her, was able to clash with her damn near equally with her soul weapons. I mean, he was overcome in the end. You know, she was able to just grab this nigga and hold him. But let's not act like she just did it, because it looks like they were at least going a little back and forth before that happened. So that cannot be understated. Good chapter, good art. I'm interested to see why Otako's there. Like, that's very interesting how she got there. But yes, that's gonna be it for One Piece chapter 995 of Kunoichi's Oath. Next up, My Hero Academia. All right, and bringing up this week's rear is going to be My Hero Academia, number 291. Thanks for going strong. As the chapter opens, we can hear Endeavor pontificating about the mountain that he used to train on by the name of Sekoto Peak. And he even talks about how there it was that his eldest son, Toya, died. He goes on to describe that Toya died in a supposed fire that burned at 2,000 degrees Celsius, and that his body was never found. He even goes on to state how they were given an explanation of how the bones were reduced to ash, and the blaze's updraft scattered them to the wind, leaving only a fragment of Toya's lower jaw. He then goes on to say, but at that time, and then we flash back to a time when Toya, who we now know as Dabi, was younger. His father, Endeavor, asks what's going on with his hair, to which he rebuts in surprise, to which Endeavor rebuts his rebuttal, saying it's turning white. The interject child then goes on to say that he's not some old man, and Endeavor asking did he die, which he says no. And as this is going on, Endeavor is still remembering and thinking back to this point. That Toya, his eldest son, and his eldest child period, didn't harbor Frost, which is his wife Ray's quirk, but he instead possessed a firepower that was greater than his own. And I don't think we've ever gotten a name for Dabi's quirk. At least here, yet again, it's a manga, it's not colored. So we don't know if it's blue at this point or not. But we do know that it is strong, and even Endeavor says that it's, stronger than his own. And the child is quite ready and has a big smile on his face and wants to learn an ultimate move. He then goes on to say that he didn't have a way of overcoming the downside of overheating, but he nevertheless wanted to raise the boy to be a hero. He then goes on to say that he yearned for a child that could escape the overheating side effect of his power, and that he said he still wanted that, this being a point in the past, and that his wife wanted more children, saying they could encourage each other. So, work for both of them. They kept going. And then Fuyumi, his second and his oldest daughter, whose oldest and only daughter was born. She was born with white hair, and she only inherited Frost. And he then went on to say, as he watched, and in this panel we can see a baby Fuyumi, and then we see a young Toya going over and attempting to play with her, to which Endeavor is trying to stop him. He then goes on to say that neither child bore the ideal quirk that he was hoping for, but he was happy still. And that since Toya had so much power, so much raw power and potential in him, he placed his ambitions on his shoulders. We then go on to see a panel with Toya saying "ow," and Endeavor saying that he thought it could be him. Now, the reason Toya was exclaiming in pain was because his fire had burnt his arm, which I don't think even happens for Endeavor. It'll overheat his body, but it never tore his body up like this. So I'm guessing that's where this whole "he died in the fire" thing might have came from. He then goes on to state, as he's having a vision of him building a bridge and someone walking over it, presumably in this case, at this point in time, potentially being Toya, or maybe even Todoroki. You know, he's no longer in the past, but he's remembering, and everything's kind of coming full circle. He then goes on to say that Toya could have been the one to reach his eternal goal. He then goes on to talk about his frustration, envy, and the ugliness inside him, and that he could have been the one to smash it all to dust. We then flash back to current day, where we see Endeavor still looking shocked as Dabi stands on Giganto Machina. And in disbelief of all that he's heard, he then goes on to say that Toya, his oldest son, who we now know as Dabi, is dead, and that it's a despicable lie. Dabi then, yet again, still gleeful about this whole situation, says that he's clearly alive, and that the truth in this case is still despicable. He then goes on to state that Endeavor put a whole agency together of fire and heat type quirks, and that he didn't even suspect him. Mr. Compress then goes on to say that Dabi never spoke a word of it, and even Spinner says that he kept it hidden from us and wants to know what's up with that. But at the same token time, Spinner is busy checking out Shigaraki, who yet again has had the absolute shit beat out of him. So yeah, I think, you know, might want to pay attention to that guy. Compress then goes on to state, my word, another with quite the bloodline. And I don't know who he's talking about. I think he might be talking about Dabi in relation to Shigaraki, because Shigaraki being the grandson of Nana Shimura, who was All Might's teacher. You know, yet again, two of them have quite the interesting family history. Dabi then goes on to question that Endeavor doesn't believe her. And he thinks he's happy to donate some blood or a hunk of skin to do a blood test. And then he says that not that it matters, he's already run a test and it's gone public. And we then see a scene of Dabi on one of those monitors in the square holding up the test results. And he then goes on to say, you know, from the recording, there's a 99.9% match between him and a drop of Endeavor's blood from Kyushu. And he says, still, I'm sure many of you believe this to be an elaborate hoax, so I just have to convince you otherwise. And it was then that Dabi kind of let the cat out of the bag. After all that, Endeavor kept having kids. The fourth was someone you are all quite familiar with, and to which he's referring to Shoto Todoroki. And he even talks about the child abuse that Todoroki inflicted. We then see scenes of Fuyumi, who is a teacher. She's been stated to be a teacher in the past. Someone coming and telling her about it, and then even Natsu in class seeing it on his phone. The broadcast continues with people all over the country watching it, and he goes on to say that Endeavor doesn't have an empathetic bone in his body, and at core he's addicted to the limelight. A man who wallows in his own small-mindedness and self-importance is that sort of person who should call himself a hero. We then go on to say that the kid who, yet again, when Endeavor was fighting the high-end gnome, was yelling for him, hoping with his friend that he's lying. And he's even hoping that people aren't going to lose faith in a hero over this. He goes on to yell that they're not that freaking stupid. And then, yet again, it all gets worse. Those who keep company with Endeavor are no different. He then goes on to show a scene of Hawks stabbing twice in the back, to which the young man is mortified. And yet again, remember, this is being played all over the country, so people are seeing this. And it's even cut in a way that it makes Hawks look like the bad guy with twice crying. That crying villain who's trying to run away, I did my best to protect him, but Hawks skewered that guy without the slightest hesitation. Yet again, this was all cut up by the guy from the Metahuman Liberation Army, just to look like Hawks was attacking an innocent, quote-unquote, villain. But yet again, the guy with the weird haircut, he's like, hey, you know, he perfectly edited on the fly, bound my skills. To which Dabi thanks him, to you and your camera for that prime footage. No reason not to use what we got, right? And then he goes on to say, this is his present to Endeavor. See, I did some digging into that Hawks, that filthy spy, and then here we get a revelation. Now, up to this point, we know that Hawks' identity, his name, and things like that, they aren't they aren't something that anybody would just readily know. That's something you have to be like high up in the Hero Association or high up in the government to know. But here we figure out why. I thought it was just because he was such a phenomenal hero. You know, he was one of those heroes who just didn't like his shit getting out. No. He then goes on to say, in order to cover it, for Hawks to get favorable, Hawks even killed the number 3 hero, Best Genius, who was recuperating. Carrying out that murder didn't ruffle his feathers in the slightest, since violence is already ingrained in his lifestyle, and it's really no wonder. And here we find out why. We never learn Hawks' name, since his own father was a serial robber and murderer, a villain, which is exactly why Hawks' background and real name were kept secret. And then he goes on to state that it was Endeavor who captured his father. Maybe it was connection, and maybe it was that connection, some kind of twist of fate that brought these men together. He then goes on to state that he couldn't let that stand. These twisted people with skeletons in their closets, they cover it all up with massive justice, but they don't stop there. They call themselves heroes and keep fooling everyone. I just want everyone to stop and think. The only ones these heroes protect are themselves. With all the ugliness inside, they use you people to give them protection, approval, and admiration. Everybody's looking on, from Bakugo, Deku, Hado, everybody who's there, who's watching the broadcast. They are all in shock. And it's here. I don't know who's speaking. I think it's old boy's friend. Can't you see? Kid, this is bad news. By speaking out, he's already won. Whether he's lying or not, that's a question for later. Now, this is what I was kind of afraid of. This whole revelation. Because the thing is, even in real life, because we've seen with things like cancel culture and shit like that, which cancel culture isn't inherently bad. If you've done some fucked up shit, you need to get the fuck up out of here. But see, the thing is, when things like these are just like shovel fed to the masses, people start to form opinions. And see, there's this thing called primacy effect. People tend to believe what they hear first. That's just the way it is. So even if Dabi was lying, it wouldn't matter. People are going to ask questions, and this is going to stick in their minds. So therefore, even if this shit is proven false, Dabi has chipped away at Hero Society, and unfortunately, a lot of the shit he says about Endeavor is true. Now, Hawks, on the other hand, might get out of this. He then goes on to say that anyone witnessing this would have to be stupid not to lose faith. He then jumps off of Gigazo Machina and then yells to Endeavor, thanks for being strong till now. And then Endeavor, yet again, is shocked. He just on the move. He just couldn't move. He goes on to state that he kept searching. He didn't want to believe that he was dead. He then yells for everybody to protect Midori and the others. Hado and him have to fight. He then tells Endeavor that him and Hado have to fight and he has to protect Midori and the others. He then says that he has to protect them, to which Endeavor is frozen. And then finally we see the ultimate, not proof, because yet again these moves aren't Kekkei, they're not inherited. We then see Dabi jump off and ignite his flames and use the Flash Fire Fist, Prominence. But just as he does that, some fibers come out of the sky. And it is then that we see that the hero who came in that jet was none other than the number 3 hero, Best Jeanist. And that will conclude My Hero Academia number 291. Good chapter. I did not expect Best Jeanist, but for a while I had suspected that Best Jeanist wasn't dead. I didn't think Hawks was gonna go that route. I was hoping like the body that was in that duffel bag from that back then was a body double. Like I was hoping okay, they're not gonna sacrifice Best Jeanist even with a punctured lung. That'd be stupid. But yeah, definitely there are gonna be some ramifications for that, because everybody finding out how Endeavor abused his family is not gonna sit well. But we got Best Jeanist, so look. I guess we're probably going to figure out why this guy who controlled fibers was the number 3 hero. Yeah. Especially with guys like Hawks and, he was able to keep his spot in the top 10. But anyway, that's been the chapters. Yet again, first, My Hero Academia by a slim margin. Both chapters were very good. Both got some good implications, but yet again, My Hero Academia has been going on strong for a while now, and it's just continued it. One Piece, yet again, not a bad chapter. Better, it was better than a normal like just keeping shit moving chapter, but I can definitely say that My Hero Academia is better. But anyway, thank you so much for joining me. Yet again, this is being your boy the D. Remember to like, comment, subscribe, hit that bell for notification, and I'm gonna see y'all Friday, for One Piece and Black Clover, because My Hero Academia is actually going to be on break until November 29th, which is going to be next Sunday. Not this upcoming Sunday, but next Sunday. But yet again, definitely check out my Linktree in the description. Definitely check out MalyMal's information in the description. This has been your boy, The D, signing out. See you guys.